Well, this episode of Star Wars Rebels once again addressed a problem I had with the previous episode, that being the show's lack of focus on what have been up to this point supporting characters. Up to this point, the show has mainly focused on Ezra. I'm blanking. Kanan and Zeb, whereas Hera and Sabine have gotten somewhat shortchanged. Well, this episode rectifies that by sending them on this mission together, or it's not really supposed to be a quote unquote mission. It's supposed to be just a routine cargo pickup. But it turns out that due to Ezra and Zeb not really running a full diagnostic on the ship, they're out of fuel, they're stranded, and apparently they're not alone. These monster things, I don't know what they're called. Um, uh, these things are coming to get them, except they don't like sunlight. So yeah, there exists the opportunity to make this a horror movie, but instead the episode really focuses on the relationship between Hera and Sabine, which I think to the writer's credit is probably for the best. Now, once again, I liked the premise of this episode right away. Um, and judging by the end of the episode, I like the two characters that it chooses to focus on. Hera and Sabine, we finally get to see some real dimension to these two characters. We really get to see their relationship develop, and the issue of trust is brought up, which that was a very interesting issue to raise, especially considering this ragtag group of rebels is already one unit at the beginning of this show. I mean, sans Ezra. So raising this trust issue was an unexpected move between Hera and Sabine, and I actually think it really paid off. So so in addition to that, it potentially set up some larger rebel force that is amassing, which apparently is what this show is about. I guess the Force Unleashed is non-canon, which kind of disappoints me because I like that game, but whatever. Um, let's see. The voice acting from Vanessa Marshall and Tia Sarkar was especially good. Good. They got more time to shine this episode. The voice acting from the other parties was not bad, but again, they just weren't the main focus. And yeah, I really can't say enough about just how refreshing it is to see someone besides Ezra get the main focus. This was honestly the main protagonist of this episode was Sabine, and how she was. In addition to explaining her backstory, she also kind of draws this parallel between her time at the Imperial Academy and her time in the rebel group, because Hera is not telling her things, and she says, the Empire used to not tell us things. And I've followed people blindly before, so I don't really want this to be like that. So so if we were to see that develop even further, I think that could potentially be very interesting. And like I said, I like where their relationship stands. I like the backstories of these two guys. I still like the banter. Um, the banter was pretty strong in this episode. Now, now what else? What else? What else? I don't really have too much else to say. Really, the only issue I have is that some of the exposition was a little clunky. It just seemed like, I mean, a few of the lines of dialogue really did just seem like Sabine or Hera going like, "Okay, I used to be this. This was my job, and this is what I am doing right now." It really did kind of seem like that, just so blatant, and it was kind of distracting, to be honest. But apart from that, the banter was pretty funny. I've heard this show compared to Firefly by some parties. Again, don't ask me who, because I never watched Firefly. I'm not really a huge Joss Whedon fan, but but the thing was when Hera sustained a scratch on the ship during an Imperial chase, Kanan was like, "You got a scratch," and then Hera says something, and Kanan was like, "Oh, there it is. I knew you'd find a way to make it my fault." so so lines like that I really think serve well to humanize these characters, and make them relatable. And once again, I like how this show is really trying to get back to the original trilogy and the whole atmosphere of the Millennium Falcon, while never really going for a straight up ripoff. And speaking of that, that I also like how this show is continuing to acknowledge the comedic possibilities or the humorous scenarios of the Star Wars mythology, while at the same time never really drifting into the realm of poking fun at the mythology. Because there's this one scene where Ezra and Zeb are arguing about whether they should tell Kanan about their little mistake, and it's just this shot of Kanan meditating, and Zeb and Ezra open the door, and Kanan's like, Sabine and Hera are in danger, aren't they? And Ezra's like, whoa, could you sense that? And Kanan's like, no, because I heard you guys arguing outside the door. So yeah, again, one little humorous nods like that that do not disrespect the mythos, while at the same time come at it from a very relatable perspective, a comedic perspective. So yeah, I like this episode all right. There were a few issues. I don't think they. I think they could have handled a few lines a little bit better, but for the most part, yeah, the animation is still good. The voice acting is still good. Tia Sarkar and Vanessa Marshall really got a chance to shine this episode, and as did their characters. I like where their characters are going. I feel like all the members of the crew have been fleshed out at this point. And another minor nitpick. I guess this could be still be considered a nitpick at these early stages of the show, but you have an entire practically limitless galaxy of creative possibilities at your disposal, and it's different than the movies. The movies, or at least the early ones, the movies you couldn't necessarily get away with the stuff you can get away with on animation. I mean, animation, you can basically do anything you want. You could have the buildings get up and start walking and talking if you really wanted to. Not that I'm suggesting that, but again, you get my point. So considering they have a practically limitless galaxy of planets and systems and characters at their disposal, I'm surprised that they've actually managed to stay pretty small scale, pretty tightly focused on this group of people and a group of planets that honestly all kind of look similar. Uh, Basically, all the planets that we've been to thus far have been either majority metal based, like these metal structures, or a desert like planet or a wasteland type planet. So if we can actually get some more variation in the environments, that would be nice. But yeah, again, it could be classified as a nitpick. They still could be getting their they still could be getting these environments together for later episodes. Or you could argue that they do not want to distract you from the main crew at this early point in the show. So I don't know. It could be any number of things. But yeah, like I said, pretty strong episode. I like the shift in focus to characters that have honestly gotten shortchanged up to this point. Yeah, at this point, I like all the characters. And yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where it's going to go from here. I think Star Wars, at least if these early episodes are any indication, are in relatively good hands.